It was the middle of July when Ryan moved into his uncle's house for the summer. College had just ended, and the city's madness had drained him. His uncle had invited him to spend a few months at their countryside home in upstate New York, a quiet place surrounded by trees, lakes, and the occasional sound of birds. But what caught Ryan off guard wasn't the peace. It was Alana, his aunt, or more precisely his chachi. She wasn't related by blood, but she had been married to his uncle for almost a decade. Ryan hadn't seen her in years. And now, standing at the door in a flowing white summer dress, she looked nothing like he remembered. "Ryan." Her voice was soft, almost like a song. "Alana. Wow. You look different." She laughed. "You've grown up too. Come in, come in." Her smile lingered longer than necessary. Alana was in her early 30s, graceful and confident, with long brown hair that fell over her shoulders effortlessly. Her green eyes sparkled when she laughed, and the way she moved felt like poetry. Ryan, at 24, felt a sudden nervousness creep into his chest. His uncle was a surgeon, always away, always working late. And just as he expected, he was called in the very next day for a week-long emergency assignment. "It'll just be you and me, kiddo," Alana said casually, stirring her coffee the next morning. "I'm not a kid anymore," Ryan replied, half smiling. "Oh, I've noticed," she said, her eyes flickering toward him before she turned away. That moment stayed with him all day. They settled into a quiet routine, meals together, walks in the garden, and late-night movies. But it was during those evenings that the energy between them would change. On the third night, they watched La La Land in the dim living room. Ryan sat on the floor, back resting against the couch where Alana lay with a glass of wine. At some point, she placed her bare feet near his shoulder. Light teasing. "You always this quiet," she whispered. "Only when I'm thinking too much," he replied. "About what?" He didn't answer. She smiled, her eyes never leaving him. The air was heavy now, not just with the summer warmth but something else. Something unspoken. The next morning Ryan went for a run by the lake. When he came back, sweaty and breathless, he found Alana watering the plants in the backyard. She wore shorts and a black tank top, her skin glistening under the sun. "Need some water?" she teased, holding up the hose. He grinned. "Only if you're offering." Without warning, she sprayed him, laughing like a child. He ran to her, caught her wrist, and they struggled playfully before she slipped, and he caught her. Their bodies pressed together, her chest rising against his. Neither of them moved. His hands were on her waist. Her lips parted slightly. A moment passed, then two, and she pulled away. "You should shower before lunch," she said, her voice low. That afternoon, Alana seemed distracted. She barely touched her food. Ryan couldn't stop looking at her lips. When night fell, he went to the kitchen for water. As he turned, he saw her by the door, watching him. "I couldn't sleep," she said softly. "Mind if I join?" He nodded, handing her a glass. Their fingers brushed. She didn't pull away this time. They stood there in silence, the kitchen light casting soft shadows. Ryan spoke first. "I don't know what this is, but it's driving me crazy." Alana stepped closer. "Me too," she admitted. He looked into her eyes, trying to find hesitation. There was none. His hand reached up, cupping her cheek gently. Her eyes fluttered shut. And then, for the first time, their lips met, slow, searching, unsure. But as the kiss deepened, all their restraint melted away. She pulled back, breathless. "We shouldn't." "I know," he whispered, "but I don't want to stop." Her eyes locked with his, torn between guilt and desire. "I need to think," she said finally, turning and walking back to her room. Ryan stood there alone, his heart racing. This summer was going to change everything. The days after that kiss felt heavier, every look, every word laced with something unsaid. Alana avoided him. Not in a dramatic way, but with subtle shifts. She skipped breakfast, stayed longer in the garden, and kept her door closed. Ryan respected the space, but he was burning inside. The night after the kiss, he heard music from her room, low jazz playing softly. He stood outside the door for a long moment, hand raised to knock, but didn't. By the fourth day, the silence cracked. He found her sitting in the old reading room, legs tucked under her, a book in her lap, but she wasn't reading. She was staring out the window, lost. "You've been avoiding me," he said, leaning against the doorframe. She looked at him slowly. "And you've been waiting for me to stop. You kissed me back." She closed the book gently. It was wrong. It didn't feel wrong. Alana stood up, brushing her hands against her dress. She moved past him, but he grabbed her hand. She froze. "I can't stop thinking about you," he whispered. She turned to face him. "Ryan, you're my nephew. It's not supposed to happen. We both know it's not about what's supposed to happen. It's about what already did." Their eyes locked. Her breath caught. "I don't know what's happening to me," she whispered. He stepped closer. "Then let me help you figure it out." Alana didn't resist when he reached for her. This time the kiss was urgent, hungry. She wrapped her arms around his neck, pulling him in, pressing against him like she'd been waiting for days. They stumbled back into the reading room, lips never parting. He lifted her slightly and she gasped, laughing between kisses as he sat her on the window ledge. "Someone could see," she whispered. "No one's around," he murmured into her neck. Her hands explored his back, her fingers trembling. When his lips reached her collarbone, she leaned her head back and closed her eyes. But just as quickly as it began, she stopped him, both hands on his chest. "We can't do this here." He stepped back, chest rising. "Then where?" She bit her lip, thinking. Then, grabbing his hand, she led him upstairs, to the attic. The attic had been locked for years. His uncle used it for storage, but Alana had the key. Inside, it smelled of old wood and forgotten furniture, but the back wall had been turned into a cozy studio once. A single couch, faded curtains, and a tiny skylight pouring moonlight onto the floor. "I used to come here to paint," she said softly, "before things got quiet between us." Ryan looked around, fascinated. "It's beautiful. Just like you." She laughed. "You're dangerous. I think you like dangerous." She didn't deny it. They sat on the couch, close, his arm brushing hers. This time there was no hesitation. Alana kissed him first. Deeper, slower. Her hands ran through his hair as he pulled her gently into his lap, feeling her weight, her warmth, her heartbeat. Time blurred. Her fingertips traced his jawline. "You're so different from your uncle," she whispered. "I don't want to be him," he said. "I want to be yours." She looked into his eyes, searching for doubt. She found none. Their lips met again, this time softer, more meaningful. She unbuttoned the top of his shirt, and he kissed her shoulder as her hands explored his chest. The room grew warmer, breaths heavier. He whispered her name like it was a secret only he could keep. And for that moment there was no past, no titles, no rules. Just two people, tangled in quiet desire and forbidden longing. Afterward, they lay together on the old couch, her head on his chest, their fingers intertwined. "You make me feel alive," she said quietly. "You are alive. You've just been pretending not to be." She smiled, closing her eyes. "What happens now?" He held her tighter. "Whatever you want." She thought for a long moment. "He comes back in 3 days." "I know." She sat up slightly, brushing hair from his face. "Promise me this isn't just a summer fantasy." He kissed her palm. "It's not. I didn't fall for you because of timing. I fell because you're you." Alana exhaled, her heart full of emotions she hadn't felt in years. They stayed in the attic until sunrise, wrapped in each other, sharing dreams and secrets, whispers between the walls of an old house. When the light crept through the skylight, she kissed him again, slower this time. "No one can ever know." "I know. But you'll remember this?" she asked, eyes shining. "Every second of it," he promised. And in that moment they weren't aunt and nephew. They were just two souls who found each other in the quiet spaces life had left behind.